welcome everyone to round 9 of the Trackstars TS2 series. 9 rounds in so far. 3 Enduros, or sorry, 1 Enduro for these guys, 3 Enduros for Maine, and we are at New York in the beautiful Watkins Glen. And as always, joined with me in the commentary box is the good old N-Spud. As always, you know, it's been an hour, mate. It's been a pretty long hour, I'd say. I'm ready for a nap.
What have you been doing the last hour except for running lobbies and, you know, trying to do a bit of a track walk? What else have you been doing?
I got back up into the combox and set up my PC and started playing Rocket League. So I was just doing that in the meantime. So yeah, it was just definitely a bit of a chilled, relaxed, bit of a relax.
Yeah, well, I'd say it's always a little bit of a wait for the TS2 to get onto the track, but as all support categories are around the world, you always have that little break interval in between, get some sort of track action going on. So maybe there's some sort of dragsters going along turn 1 and down the back straight as well. So it was a good show from the Americans, from the New York fans. So yeah, but we are here for round 9. So as you said, we did come from an endurance round for the TS2 guys. The first time the TS2 division actually run a endurance event, which was the St. Croix 250, which was won by Lunacy from Project One Racing Team. But unfortunately for him, he's actually suddenly announced his shock retirement from TS2 DJs. A bit of a shock there amongst the Trackstars community, and Lunacy, after getting himself a victory in TS2 and putting on some solid performances in the main series for CP Motorsports, has suddenly announced his retirement.
Yeah, it was actually very surprising. You know, we seen him kind of disappear out of Discord, and then I figured I'd you know, give him a bit of a message, and yeah, he's actually pulled his entry from TS2 and main series as a reserve, I believe. So very unfortunate. You know, he was taking it to the championship leader in its racing and John 27, but he was sitting second in the championship, and due to its racing dropping down to TS3, it actually made him the championship leader. But in terms of that, now with Lunacy pulling his entry, that means that John 27 TCT is championship leader. But in terms of that, currently there's no John to be found.
What a turn of events over the last 7 days, DJ. That's been incredible. of who's shown up, who hasn't shown up. So unfortunately, we all know John to be the factor of taking his afternoon power naps and not turning on his alarm clock. So unfortunately for him, he's not jumped online. But if he does jump online, then we will see him starting from the rear of race 1 or even commencing of race 2. If not, you'll catch him in the main series, replacing EVM Brandosa in the 34 is Racing Esports Honda. But we have 13 drivers this evening. Unfortunately, we're missing also DSR Devlin as well from the ICE Racing Group, so he looks like he's an absence as well. So it looks like we might be able to promote one of the last drivers that came for pre-qualifying, Mad Dog 007. So we'll wait and see. But right on track now, we have the man, Captain Muffin 88, who had his challenges in Lunacy, unfortunately pull his retirement out, and John, unfortunately not showing up this evening, is a bit of a lone ranger here. So I wonder who can actually take it to Captain Muffin 88, as I did see a very familiar name join the TS2 grid, and that is Ando 787. So I wonder if he can spark any challenges towards Captain Muffin.
Yeah, well, obviously he did get in through pre-qualifying with a 59.1, so that was actually faster of all the times. So it was a pretty decent time here, but Budsy looks to be giving him a bit of a tow, obviously before he has to serve that penalty, sorry. But yeah, he's lost a little bit of time there following him through there. So Muffin gets a 1.5 second penalty. So you know, these penalties are really coming to tuition here. Robbo jumped up into P2 with a 1 minute flat .026, so nice job there. As we say that, Endo goes fastest to 59.7, just in front of Captain Muffin. So yeah, minute 45 to go is definitely potential for the grid to move a little bit. And Aussie Hypnotic jumping up to the front with a 59.7, so that's very surprising to see Aussie there.
Well, Wow, so a very solid lap there by Ozhypnotic, the car 420 of the WTCC entry. So Ozhypnotic putting on some good performances. He does like Watkins Glen. I have heard from talking in the paddock, of talking with Ozzy. He does have a soft heart for this track, and he absolutely loves it. And he can always find the limits of where to push the car. So he may be a surprise pole position man, but as we get word that confirmation that we will have the Mad Dog 007 joining us on the grid this evening, and he'll be starting from the rear, from last place on the track. So far, Ozhypnotic is on provisional pole position with Ando 787 in second. Actually, I do say that they've actually swapped positions now, so Ando's into the 59.2. So I will say in pre-qualifying, DJ, we did see a 58 from Ando. So can he do that with only a minute to spare?
Yeah, it's any potential for that to happen. By the time they've only got 30 seconds, so they'll just cross the line here, being Ando, and whoever's just in front of him is Muffin. So they essentially would be on their final lap here. So it's a bit odd seeing Muffin down in third. He's been really dominant in TS2 as well as main when he fills in and stuff. So yeah, he's showing a pretty good performance here.
So as he's coming through towards turns 9 and 10, the checkered flag is about to be waved. Will these guys cross the line before it's too late? No, they won't. So it looks like Captain Muffin will be the first man to cross the line. Will he get himself provisional pole position? He won't. Well, that belongs to Ando 787. He gets himself just at 59.1, so no fast enough. What about Ozhypnotic right behind? Any movers and shakers up the grid? We see Kaizen actually stay ahead and fourth. Buzzy moves up into fifth place. Ozhypnotic doesn't improve his lap time. Robbo has moved himself up into sixth. So we've seen a few progressions, a few position changes here and there. We see Kaizen and Buzzy in the top 5. Robbo in 6th place, Rusty Nuts in 7th, making a Robbo Sport 6 and 7th. Cylon and Rugworth holding out 8th and 9th respectively. And then we have the returning KPL Baseman inside the top 10. So very good to see Baseman back in the Track Stars Racing Series field. And then we have Warpath 360 just outside the top 10 in 11th, and Slapper's Mate hanging out in 12th place. As we get confirmation with Ando to finish up on his lap. He doesn't finish up his lap at all, so he's out. He's got himself in, still holding on to pole position no matter what. As we run through the rest of the grid, actually Brian's actually moves up into 6th place, so I did not see that. So Brian up into 6th, so he must have just jumped into the pit lane as qualifying ended. So a couple of interesting names down there, DJ. We see Slapper's Mate in, I believe, 13th place. Yeah, that's correct. So 13th place for Slapper's Mate 117, and not the best lap time he set, and definitely not finding the confidence at all. Actually, I believe he's just in the top 5 for the TS2 in the TS2 championship as well.
Yeah, looking at the standing, we are currently at Slappers moving up 2 positions. Yes, it does take him into 5th, but obviously with Devlin here, he's only about 35 points behind him, so he'll actually jump Devlin here this week. So he'll jump up there, but that depends on Muffin and where he finishes, because he's only 3 points behind Slappers. So you've got a bit of a battle on here for what will be 4th, 5th, 6th. So Rusty as well, only 12 points in front of Budsy, and then John's about 126 points ahead of Rusty. So look, potentially we may have a new championship leader here if John doesn't wake up. So this could really go any which way, but north for some of these drivers up the top.
Yeah, and I guess in a way, if you can claim yourself to be championship leader at the end of a round, that'll be a huge accomplishment and good confidence going into the foreseeable future in TS2. But as we get ourselves underway for race 1 for round 9 of the New York Sprint here for Trackstars TS2 touring cars, lights are about to go out very shortly, with Ando and Ozhypnotic blocking out a WTCC front row. So the grid is set, 14 drivers this evening. We're missing a couple big names in Declan and John, not rounding up the rest of the grid, but we have Ando and Aussie Hypnotic in the front row. As we look towards the back, we're going to be keeping an eye on the battle pack going up towards the front. Lights out, and we're green flag racing. Budsy has just missed the start there, and Kaiser's got himself a really good start in the Lexus MSR. And we have Ryan going around the outside. Budsy's trying to squeeze himself between his teammates in Rugworth and Xylon, keeping his nose just clean. And there we go again, DJ. We've got another good example of some clean turn one action. Hopefully there's no incidents plaguing in the back of the field. Hopefully, touch wood, nothing happens. But Rusty Nuts right behind Isuzu Brian has a bit of a slipstream fest amongst the drivers here, trying to find which way is the best way. And it looks like, unfortunately, Aussie Hypnotic has dropped down to outside the top 5. No, he's not actually outside the top 5. Contact made between the MSR cars in Budsy, and there we go. A little bit of carnage there. Bit of wayward drifting actions, and unfortunately, KPL Baseman took the worst of it, and he's down the back in the last place. Not the start that Budsy 76 wanted, definitely not the start that Baseman wanted at all.
Yeah, that was a bit of a wacky re-entry there for Xylon, but Budsy came through as well, got a bit of that, and what looks to be, I think it was a bit of a return serve there from Budsy onto Xylon on the exit of the bus stop there. But you know, that's, I guess, what can you do? You know, you just kind of got to take it as it comes and see how it goes. But yeah, the first lap wasn't too shabby there, but you know, a bit unfortunate for Baseman. You know, first race back, been a very long time. You know, we obviously don't like seeing drivers getting involved in that kind of stuff, but he's actually signed up here for with WRT, so he's jumped away from Kiwi Pit Lane and he's signed on with Warpath and Kiwi Pit Lane there. So it's yeah, good signing there from WRT.
Very good signing there. Robert makes the move on Budsy 76, who has to serve a half-second penalty there after running wide on turn 9. But a couple of surprises here. We've got Ando in the lead, but we also got the debutant from last round out, Kaizen. TY 58 in second place, and he's doing himself a really good job there. I've been talking to him throughout the week since my move, and he's been showing a lot of confidence in the car. He's been getting really confident behind the wheel of the Steel City Mashbuds Racing Lexus RCF, and he's actually ahead of Captain Muffin 88. It looks like he just ran a bit wide there, so hopefully he doesn't get himself a half second with that. I don't think so, he might be alright. Captain Muffin just inside the podium positioning in third place, and unfortunately for Aussie Hypnotic, from second down to fifth, we're right on the tail of Isuzu Brian, looking to go for an inside move. It's a little bit tricky to go for an inside move. Maybe just stick behind him and just hopefully he gets himself a half second penalty. But there's plenty more racing to go, but it's fast action here, DJ. We're just getting ourselves into the 59s straight away on the end of lap 3. Ando 787 leading the way. We see Xylon 96 pick himself a 1.5 second then. So something really drastic happened to Xylon 96's entry. And looks like he's just struggling to get some grip into his car. Mad Dog, the late entrant, as we see Robbo Sport go for a bit of a spin there. I don't know whether he was helped by Budsy 76 or he did that all on his own. I'm not 100% sure what happened there, but Robbo Sport drops from inside the top 10 just in 14th in the last place. Not what he wanted. Warpath 360 in 11th and Budsy in 10th. Mad Dog, the big mover so far, from last place to 9th, so very good start for him. Be inside the top 10, ahead of Budsy and just behind Xylon. Slappers has made the biggest moves, I will say, DJ, from 13th to 7th, so beautiful movements there by Slappers.
Yeah, he's doing well here in the WTCC 117. He's currently harassing the back of his good mate in Ruggers there. So Ruggers runs really wide. I think that's about as wide as you can run through that corner there. But yeah, he's doing. I think even Ruggers is doing pretty well. You know, we haven't seen him up the front in what will be kind of a bit of a long time. So you know, he's always been getting caught in some action and stuff like that. So to see Ruggs in the top 6 is definitely good.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, touch wood, nothing happens to him, and obviously nothing happens to his progression, as he can be the first of the MSR VL Racings up at the top there. But obviously trying to get draw some inspiration from the boys back in the factory from the Touring Cars Championship Enduro. So obviously we'll be looking to find some confidence in the MSR camp, but so far hanging on nicely into 6th place ahead of Slappers in 7th. But Kaizen still holding on very nicely into 2nd place. Ando just looks like he's just pulling away quite comfortably, 4.5 seconds over the rest of the field. the only driver in the 59s so far. I'm not so sure if Captain Muffin's in the 59s just yet, but I know Kaizen is still stuck in the 1 minute bracket, the 60-second bracket. But Ando, a return to the TS2 field after starting the year, actually starting the campaign, DJ, in the main series for Shade On Racing. Unfortunately, with the fold of Shade On Racing, left Ando 787 without a drive, so a little so drops himself down to TS2 and gets himself back into racing here at Trackstars.
Yeah, he's doing a solid job there. We all know how fast Ando is, and it's kind of really proving that you know, he's doing a 59.3, 59.2, 59.1, 59.2. So he's pretty consistent. He's what looks to be one of the only drivers to crack the sub 1 minute there. Is Muffin's cracked at 59.996. So you know, it's definitely showing here that you know you need to crack the 59s there to be somewhat quickly up the front of the pack. But Slaps is doing a solid job here, but Aussie's got a 1.5 seconds, so you may see him drop here to 5th and potentially come under threat by Rugworth. So, yeah, that's a possible.
He's doing the right thing, pulling away on the right-hand side, let the cars go on the inside, so he loses tracks position to Ruggers, to Slappers, and also Rusty Nuts, so 3 positions over a 1.5 second penalty, DJ. So, it's actually interesting how you get a 1.5 second penalty. So, I'm guessing, if I had to guess, you probably would be cutting the bus stop, and then you would be cutting somewhere between turns 9 and 10, or turn 1 to get you to accumulate a 1.5 second penalty. I'm not too sure how it would work.
My guess would be turn 1, entry to the bus stop, exit to the bus stop, because obviously he did carry it through from that lap. So yeah, I'm guessing turn 1, yeah, entry bus stop, exit bus stop. But Slappers, he's harassing the back of Rugworth. He's on a purple here, so he's definitely showing some pace in that Nissan through sector 1 there, but he just loses a bit of pace through sector 2 and 3. But
yeah, he's lost a little bit of time, but there's a good battle pack for 4th place with Rusty Nuts holding that pack up, being the cork of the bottle, and that battle pack. But we see Kaizen drop to the back behind Captain Muffin, so Captain Muffin did make the move on Kaizen on the previous lap 6 of 15. Kaizen still on the podium's positioning, so that's very good confidence for him on his debut TS2 Touring Cars campaign, after only being 2 rounds in. But Captain Muffin looks to be wanting to capitalise on as much as he can and trying to get himself close to that championship fold, with him being just outside the top 5, as you said, DJ. So a lot of work for Muffin to do. He has missed a couple of rounds, and he has had a couple of bad performances, but the recent past shows that his victory at Bathurst and at High Speed Ring will definitely, well, actually, last one actually I will say was Bathurst for TS2. Oh, inside! So go away from Captain Muffin. What a move by Ruckworth! That was amazing. How did he get through that without getting any contact from Rusty Nuts?
Another driver leaving him room, and both of them having a head on him and knowing what to do in that situation. So, you know, they left each other room. They raced very smart there, and it paid off.
That was amazing.
It was a really nice move, and it's already hard enough to try and take that corner as it is. You know, you're offline through the first section, let alone having a car jam his car up the inside. So
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
solid work there from these guys and keeping it clean. You know, Rusty's only lost 1 spot, but he's got Slappers and Aussie hunting the back, and he almost nearly lost 2 spots on the exit.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was in a lot of trouble there on the back end there, but he's got the 2 WTCC boys, the good mates, in Slappers and Aussie Hypnotic right behind him. But yeah, going back to Captain Muffin, he's trying to get himself back up towards that championship fight. He knows that John is not there, and he's going to really try and put a challenge on the guys and trying to get himself into that championship league where we know he's very strong.
Yeah, he's definitely showing some fantastic pace in that CP Motorsports Honda. But the other thing is as well, like John also had a DNF last week. So he actually rage quit before,
yes.
So he got 100 points. But this week, because he hasn't started, he's actually going to cop a did not start, which is a 0. And you know, that's obviously there is drop rounds, but still having a 0-point round compared to what, you know, Muffin would get here, and say he gets a second and a second, he gets a 270-point round. So that's pretty considerable gains that he's going to make there. That, and you know, that yeah. I don't think John would have wanted to happen so far. But you know, I think Captain Muffin's really just like, all right, well, Ando's not really in the championship race, but I am. So you know, just take it easy, try not to get too many penalties, and keep the car straight. as I can, and let the other guys fight around them. Because essentially, look, who have you got in the championship race that's other than Muffin?
You've got Rusty Nuts, who is actually behind John, and Budsy right behind him in 9th place at the moment. So Rusty in 5th and Budsy in 9th. So Rusty will get a few more points on Budsy 76, and then like you said, there's just who else is it going to be? So Muffin is going to be the biggest winner coming out of round 9 if John doesn't show up for the next race. So it'll be very interesting. It'll be interesting to see what the championship points are like at the end of this round for the New York Sprint here at Watkins Glen. But I will say, very good solid start there, very good racing there by the guys here, just holding out for 4th place. So Aussie Hypnotic just coming under a little bit of pressure from Silo 96. He's just slowly dragging Budsy 76 with him, where they two actually made contact on the opening lap, so between Cylon and Budsy. So two teammates making contact, and the two drivers that came from the Trackstars Racing Series main series Enduro for the Sankpor 1500. So they're getting back to themselves and familiar of their TS2 cars in 8th and 9th place, and a couple of drivers like you've said, they have actually come back from co-driver duties. So Ando was part of the co-driver in my team in the Mashabuds Racing for driving alongside myself at Bathurst, and then Captain Muffin taking victory with Jared 50 in the 98 CP Motorsports EBM sponsored Honda NSX, and then we have Rusty Nuts coming from Robo Sport and Slappers as well. So the two teammates, or two co-driver teammates, you can see Rusty and Slappers, they're all battling it out for 5th place as well.
Yeah, and I think the CP car is number 50, by the way, being Duran. But yeah, no, we got Ando as a co-driver, Muffin as a co-driver, Rusty, Slappers, Aussie, Xylon, Budsy, Robbo if he needs to. So essentially, you've got the drivers that are in kind of this mid-pack up the front who have been alongside the main drivers, and it does really show on how much it can actually help in the grand scheme of things, with their driving and kind of making it a little bit better. So, it's good to see that they're all racing, and even with racing alongside them, you can see how much better their racecraft is as well. We're not seeing as many accidents. They're not.
Absolutely. You can just kind of see they're getting a little bit more respectful towards each other on those race starts, and as we saw, especially in that opening lap that we saw, at least for race 1, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's the same for race 2, but everyone's so respectful, they know each other, they know how to race, and it's very good to see. It's very awesome driving by our TS2 guys, but looks like this field is starting to spread a little bit. I think the only closest battle we may see could be a battle for 4th place, so Rugworth is just slowing up just a little bit. He's just inviting Rusty to close up ever so slightly. He's just only 0.2 behind Rugworth, so he's only got about 2 laps to go, only about just over 2 laps to go. Rugworth in 4th, Rusty in 5th, and Slappers in 6th place. Aussie Hypnotic has just pulled away, just ever so slightly gapped Silo 96 and Budsy right behind in 9th place. I will say Warpath 360 is in 9th place, so it looks like Budsy made a mistake, got himself a half second somewhere along the track, and Budsy inside the top 10. So Warpath looking to try and see if he can get some sort of progression in his WRT Honda. Unfortunately, with his teammate in KPL Basement just outside the top 10 in 13th place, and actually no, 12th place. And Isuzu Pride, that's a very interesting name as well to see down the order.
58 there from Brian, so he's
so what has happened to Isuzu Pride? This is a guy, I will say, DJ, we know it's very interesting as we see KPL Basement go for a little bit of a spin on the exit of turn 1. Brian is some sort of a bit of an interesting driver, you could say. He's just got a driving style. He's got a way of racing the cars where he just gets involved in at least too many accidents, and accidents that he doesn't want to get involved in. And when he does get involved in it, he seems to make mistakes, as he demonstrates there very clearly on the exit of the bus stop. But he's got potential. You see it on his lap. He's first man in the 58s. Why is he not up at the front?
I think the 102, the 1 minute, the 1 minute, the 1 minute 1 is kind of why he's not up the front. So if he can consistently do 58s and 59s, you see him running wide there and stuff like that. I think the little mistakes are definitely gonna are hurting him. He picked up damage at the end of the bus stop because he hit the wall, and then yeah, the half-second penalty there. So it's definitely, consistency. I think where some of the likes of obviously Ando, he's done consistent 59s. Look at that. He's done a 59.494 2 laps in a row. If that's not consistency, then I have no idea what is. Same as Muffin, 59.725 and a 751. So it's definitely consistency. I think is going to get you up the pointy end.
Yeah, absolutely. As we did see Ando cross the line, him taking P1 in the first race of the TS2 touring cars. Captain Muffin takes out second, and Kaisen takes his first podium in the Trackstars TS2 touring cars. And huge applause belongs to Rugworth as well. Hypnotic looks like he made a mistake there. No, he didn't. He actually picked up a penalty there, so that's an interesting one. He picks up a penalty on the last lap, did not serve it, and Zyla was inside the top 10, or inside that 1 second gap, and he managed to get that position away from from Aussie Hypnotic. So he moves himself up to 7th, Aussie down to 8th. But a nice performance there by Kaizen to get his first podium in Trackstars TS2, and Rugworth putting in the top 4, and Slappers getting himself inside the top 5, DJ, after starting or 6th place, I will say, starting from 13th.
Yeah, it's definitely solid driving there from Rugworth, Slappers, and all those guys up the front there, and Ando with the pole position, the clean race bonus. Unfortunately, no fastest lap either because Brian did steal that off him, so it's a bit
Yeah, he
unfortunate.
did.
But yeah, solid driving there by those guys. So yeah, still no sign of John. I can't. We've been messaging him, and he's got a couple of minutes to join. Other than that, this will be a 0 point round for him, which I don't know if that's exactly what he wants.
No, absolutely not. If he's going to use that no show for this track and for his 100 points DNF back at St. Croix, he's in a lot of strife when it comes to taking the championship for TS2. So he's going to need a lot of luck on his side for the next 5 rounds that he shows up, and hopefully, fingers crossed, keep that championship position in first place. But we'll wait and see as we take a quick break from the Trackstars TS2 touring car. Stay tuned, grab yourself a drink, go to the bathroom, and join us in a couple of minutes' time where we get qualifying 2 underway and race 2 for the Trackstars TS2 touring cars here at Watkins Glen.
Alright, I hope everyone's got a drink and ready to go because we are green flag for qualifying 2 of the round 9 here at in the New York Sprint for the Trackstars TS2 series. Got some
Absolutely.
early
So we're
wins.
took some dominance from Ando 787. Isuzu Brian with the fastest lap with a 58.9. So we'll wait and see what he can do at the end of qualifying, and yeah, hopefully he can get himself up towards the front and challenge Ando and Captain Muffin for a podium and or even a potential for a win. What can Slapper's mate 117 do, starting from 13th all the way up to P6? So 7 positions gained for Slapper's mate 117. Can Kaizen go a couple more steps better? Can he get himself up towards victory with only 2 rounds in? So we'll wait and see. There's a lot of factors here, DJ, and we're only just about to start qualifying 2 with Captain Muffin as we look to go for an onboard with Ice. We'll see if we can go for an onboard with Captain Muffin 88. So the last time out winner at Bathurst in TS2, and the recent St. Croix 1500 winner alongside Jerem 50 of the car 50 of the EBM CP Motorsports Honda NSX, about to take us for a lap here at Watkins Glen. So sit back and enjoy. I don't know about you, DJ, but that looked like a very clean lap there by Captain Muffin. But can he get himself into the under the 1 minute? No, he's still 1 minute 0.6. So very clean lap there for him, but not enough to get into the 59. So Slapper's mate still in the 1 minute. He's in 1 minute 0.7. KPL Baseman so far the first man in the 59 so far. Kaizen TY in the 59s as well. So plenty of drivers coming in very slowly, but KPL Baseman, that's a bit of a shock there to be provisional pole position on the end of his first flying lap there.
Yeah, I'm certain that would be a lot of positivity there for Baseman because you know, after that first round, first race there, it's obviously a bit unfortunate. But yeah, it's definitely an up there. You know, it shows that you can just kind of, you know, wash it off and go again. So that's definitely a positive there from Baseman. Obviously, we haven't seen Baseman for a while, so he's had a bit of time off. And he did come through pre-qualifying in my lobby because he couldn't join yours. But yeah, he's done a very solid job here this weekend. Obviously, first race back. So yeah, he's doing pretty well for himself. I think, you know, he's definitely proving himself that he can stay in TS2. As you say that, Slappers goes faster with a 59.4, but we need to watch out for Ando. As you say that, 59.5, so it's currently P2, so still a WTCC first front row lockout. So yeah, they've just gone 2 minutes, so we'll wait and see in the next 2 laps that they've got on what they can do.
Well, just like the first race so far, Slappers and Ando, the WTCC boys, in first and second. Unfortunately with Aussie Hypnotic inside the top 4 there, so actually he's done pretty well. Isuzu Bryant's come up into 3rd place on these last lap at 59.7, so we'll wait and see what his lap time can be. KPL Basement holding on very nicely inside the top 5, so beautiful job there. But one surprise as we did come back there, DJ, yeah, Captain Muffin is not just hanging on by a thread to be inside the top 10, he's well out of it and he's in 14th and last place. So this is a lap that is very crucial for him with only 1.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, he's 1.1 off the pace, so you know that just shows how close the field is. Essentially, we got penalties galore going on up here. So yeah, it's definitely a bit of, you know, upsetting kind of thing to see Muffin so far down the field. But even if he was, you know, you definitely know, you know, he's got the potential to come through the field.
Yeah,
know, we know. Yeah.
He's just lost a little bit of time then, as I do say that Brian's actually gone up to the front there, so he's actually taken out the WTCC boys and put himself on provisional pole position. He's called it quits on his lap time, but Slappers in second, and then we have Ando 787 in third, Aussie Hypnotic in the fourth. So the top four occupied by 3 WTCC cars. Ando 787 getting a little bit of a slipstream from Budsy 76, not on a personal best lap there. Cylon's climb up into 5th place, and KPL Basement just drops down. So KPL Basement's initial first lap, is doing himself really good wonders there to get himself up further towards the front. And some good improvements there by Cylon, and even Mad Dog hanging on into 8th place as well, as the checkered flag is waved out. With the first driver to come across the line is Rugworth. So very interesting from Rugworth. He's now down the order there, so 13th in the last place after having a solid P4 there. So I have a feeling that sometimes it is a little bit of a trade, a little bit of an inconsistency with the man, unfortunately. Slapper's mate is actually on a pole position in the lap time, was he? No, he wasn't. Okay, so Susan Brian is second.
I'm not too sure what's happened here. So Brian should have the fastest lap. Yeah,
okay, sure maybe just maybe a timing glitch there, unfortunately. So it looks like Brian in first, and I do believe Slappers was second, Ando third, Aussie Hypnotic fourth. So there we go. So WTCC locking out 3 cars in the top 4, and Mad Dog inside the top 8 also from WTCC. So beautiful performance by those guys to be inside the top 4. Just a bit unfortunate for Rugworth, 14th in last place after finishing in 4th. And there we go. We also had Captain Muffin in 9th place, and Kaizen, who was the main protagonist, in 7th place on the podium. And I believe down the bottom as well, we did see Budsy as well. No, I thought he was a little bit lower than that, so he's just inside the top 10. So I think he just gained a few positions on that last lap. So a lot of work to do for some of the MSR guys, but so far WTCC taking out the top 4 and Brian in the mix on pole position.
Yeah, I know. If I was Slappers, I'd be pretty happy with that one. That's for sure. You know, in WTCC being 2, 3, 4. I do think oh no, that was Mad Dog. Sorry, I thought Brian was with WTCC, but yeah, no, he's always been a privateer. But you know, we do know that. Okay, no, it did glitch out, and Slappers did get pole, so it's a bit unfortunate there for Brian, but he's on the inside into turn 1, so there's not much we can do there. But yeah, he's definitely shown some pace there. Certainly for this one.
Maybe the lap time didn't register, but regardless, Slappers mate 117 on pole, Brian in second place, Ando and Aussie behind as the lights are out, and we have green flag racing. KPL Basement with a terrible start there, nearly took out Xylon 96 and drops from 6th down to 9th place as we look for that first corner. Shenanigans, nothing doing avail with those guys, and really clean start yet again by our TS2 drivers, as there's a little bit of a mess up towards the front with some of the Lexus drivers in Kaizen, Budsy, and a couple of others ahead with Xylon as well. So a little bit of a slow start, and we see Captain Muffin making the moves early into 6th place as we still have Slappers mate 117. Oh! Captain Muffin late on the brakes, nearly takes out a couple of drivers himself there, and very good spatial awareness for Captain Muffin, and even Ando 787's dropped down the order as well, DJ.
Yeah, that was really messy. Going into the
oh, 3 wide to turn. No, it's surely not. Xylon backs out of it, so smart move by Xylon. Leaves room for not just Captain Muffin, but Budsy 76. Ando runs the high line going on the outside, does the move, makes the move on Xylon 96. Ando protects that inside line, and Xylon will take the outside, but Xylon in a couple of fiasco moves there with Captain Muffin's a little bit of a risky move going into the bus stop, DJ, so hopefully, but no contact was made, and luckily for him, he hangs on, but in 4th place now. As we see a DNF from a couple of drivers. Was that a DNF from somebody, or did someone just glitch out on my end? No, I don't think so.
No, we are missing one driver though. We're gonna have 15.
No.
So.
We always had 14 in the lobby, but that's okay.
Yep.
But Slappers mate 117 doing what Ando does, getting inspiration from the man that is the pilot of Qantas in sixth place, unfortunately. So he's got a lot of work to try and catch up towards his fellow friend in Slappers, mate, but hanging on behind Budsy 76, captain behind Aussie Hypnotic and Brian. A much better performance by Isuzu Brian in second place. A little bit down the order, a little bit of lack of showing, not showing some good pace so far in these early stages, as he's 2.5 behind Slappers and right on the clutches of Aussie Hypnotic.
Yeah, Slappers has really pulled out some magical cards here. You know, he's 3.5 in front, but I think the benefits of that was the jumbled up qualifying of where people were. You know, obviously the timing did muck up a little bit and put him on pole instead of Brian, but you know, you just got to keep going with what you've got.
Aussie looked like he was going for a move there for a second. He's held back slowly, and Aussie makes a beautiful switchback move in the chicane in the bus stop and gets himself up into P2 there, teachers. That caught us by surprise.
Yeah, I think Brian either went too late or he got a little bit of a tap there from Aussie, so he may have had a bit of a bad run. Brian goes really deep under brakes there.
Oh, he's just in the wall. I thought he was about to go.
He just got engine damage there too, so.
Oh, that's so unlucky for Brian. He's done so well, just so unfortunate. Just mistakes popping up on the man in Isuzu Brian. He could have been settling in for a nice P2, and there you go, a bit of an unfortunate disconnect for Isuzu Brian. Not happy with what transpired with him and Aussie Hypnotic, but there you go, the two WTCC boys, Slappers and Aussie, first and second place. Captain Muffin in third, Budsy in fourth, Ando inside the top 5. Just outside of it is Silo and Cozen and Rugworth from 14th to 8th. So really good first couple of laps for Rugworth, and trying to get some confidence after his first race. Mad Dog in 9th and KPL Basement after a terrible start, just inside the top 10, but with a 1.5 second penalty, and will lose that position to his teammate in Warpath and Rusty Nuts as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's you know, penalties are obviously a bit of a pain in the game, but you know, you just got to keep going with it, and it's essentially a way to stop people from shortcutting the courses and stuff like that. But yeah, Rugworth is probably the biggest mover in this one, all the way up into 8th from last place in 15th. So yeah, definitely a solid showing there from Rugworth. And Robbo unfortunately hasn't had the best of runs lately. You know, obviously last year as well, when we had Matt and Viper and stuff like that come in, he was, I think, leading the championship or somewhere up there, and then he just got swamped by those fast guys coming in. So yeah, it was definitely a turn of the tables for Robbo, and I don't think he's really had some good luck since that point last year. So
yeah, a little bit of hard work to do for Robbo Sport, the leader of Robbo Sport Racing, in 13th and last place, unfortunately, but we'll get some consolation points just being ahead of Isuzu Brian with his DNF. So last place in the first round, or first race, and then 13th and last place, unfortunately, for this one. So a lot of work for Robbo to do in the TS2 campaign, but there's the WTCC boys, as we see another disconnect there. Rugworth is disconnected there, so something's happened to what's happened there, so that's a shock. Rugworth, he was up in 8th place, and I don't know whether something happened in between him or getting some contact, but that's a shock. Just outside, he was inside the top 8, no mistakes on his end whatsoever. Must be just a plain and simple DC, DJ, unfortunately.
yeah, it's potentially it's just a simple DC there, but you know, we don't exactly know until we get some inside news on that one. But Ando's being held up here a bit by Budsy, but Budsy's doing a pretty solid job there, putting Ando behind him, obviously being the different pace between the two of them. You know, Ando knows how fast he is, and Budsy obviously knows how fast Ando is as well. But yeah, he's hounding the back of him at the moment, and you know, I think essentially Budsy kind of doesn't really need to worry about Ando, you know, because he's not essentially in the title fight as much as what Budsy is. So, you know, you've got your top 4 at the moment are essentially what would be your top 4 or top 5 in the championship.
Absolutely. As we'll see another one. There he goes. So Rugworth did actually DC, and he's now back in the lobby. So unfortunately for him, he can't jump back in the car and go back on the track. Unfortunately, we'll have to be the spectator of this race. But Ando really hounding back with Budsy 76. So the two drivers from Mash Buds Racing that were in the touring cars Duros campaign, Ando is going to make that move cleanly on Budsy well before the bus stop. So gentleman's agreement for those guys. Ando ahead, Budsy back in 5th place and in the clutches of Silo 96. He'll be looking to try and get himself closer to his teammate and get himself inside the top 5 with Dylan missing a few rounds in TS2 to focus on the touring cars enduro campaign. Does some pretty good performances alongside Reddy, but I guess in a way, just getting those mileages and points. And sometimes we catch Aussie doing a full Tokyo drift on the last corner there, but unfortunately getting overtaken by Captain Muffin. And is that 6 seconds between Slappers and Captain? Is that right?
Yeah, that's a 6-second gap between the two of them. So I would expect for that to come down. But in saying that,
that
Muffin
will come down pretty quickly.
No, not entirely. Slappers has done a 59.3, 59.6, 59.2, 59.2, where Muffin's done a 59.8, 9, 6, and 6. So he's not probably gaining as much time as what we possibly thought he would have. But yeah, he's doing, something pretty considerable there. But anything's possible. They can easily make a mistake, as Slappers has done a 1 minute there. So anything is possible, but at the moment, I don't think Captain Muffin's putting in the times that will really essentially see us challenge Slappers for the lead. But in saying that, but Aussie's just copped the 1.5 second penalty, so that may bring Ando into the mix for a podium.
Yeah, absolutely, and Ando will be really putting on the pressure on Aussie Hypnotic to try and take that podium away from the man from WTCC, the fellow companion from WTCC, and looks to get the overall round win, unless I believe Captain Muffin did finish P2 in that last race. So if Ando pulls up a couple of positions, I think it'll be quite close on points, DJ. I think they'll be tied on points. It'll be interesting to see at the end of it. So I think Ando and Muffin will be tied on points, and it'll all go back to qualifying for race 1, where Ando was on pole position. So I think the round win could go to Ando, but time will tell. Aussie Hypnotic is about to serve his 1.5 second penalty. Does he lose out to his teammate in Ando 787 as he's coming through with a lot more pacey? There you go, he does. What about Budsy? Will he come through? No, so he will stay behind Aussie Hypnotic. He'll stay in 5th. Aussie only loses 1 position.
Yeah, that was the Ando went through there with a great rate of knots, passing Aussie. That's not. I don't think that's what Muffin would have wanted there. He would have wanted to keep Ando behind him so then he could get the round win. But in saying that, yeah, as you said, I do think Ando will get the round win for this one. Touch wood, he doesn't get a penalty or anything like that. So, it's definitely an interesting one to see on who finishes where and round points and stuff like that. But Butsy's taking it to Aussie here, trying to get it, find a way around, stick his nose up somewhere, try and put his car in the spot.
Oh, it's going to be very hairy going into the bus stop, but he does the right thing, pulls out. Actually, I will say, DJ, we will see the return of Aussie Hypnotic in the main series. He will actually be replacing Soul Reaper in the WRT entry car 151, and Aussie Hypnotic will make the return back in the main series for WRT, and will be putting his place on the track for the Touring Cars Championship and getting all the points that WRT need for their debut round, after coming in 4 rounds into the championship and coming in on late notice after the Shade On Racing team's withdrawal from the Touring Cars Championship, and Aussie and WRT getting themselves into the main game, and at least getting Aussie Hypnotic to be signed as a main driver, as one of the reserve drivers, I will say. It's a pretty good signing for them to get Aussie Hypnotic.
Yeah, Aussie's really kind of showed up. Essentially, he's definitely earned his spot in the main series as a reserve driver, and you never know. We might see obviously potential for next year with new teams coming in. WTCC might chuck an entry up saying, look, I think we got the potential to take it to main series, and anything's possible. But yeah, no, he's doing really well there with WRT. Obviously, it is a different car too. So they're in the NSX in main series, and he's in the Nissan here. So. Two completely different cars, and he is on the controller gang too. So we, us controller users stick together, my friend. And I think I definitely helped him out with the Honda, because obviously doesn't have much experience with it. And I just tried my best and helped him out. So he's doing pretty well for himself, I think.
Yeah, I did get confirmation from Rugworth from the team radio from MSI. Did get a disconnect from your lobby there, DJ. So a little bit of a blue screen of death on his end, and unfortunately that ruined his race. So unfortunate not to see Rugworth move up a few positions in this race. But one man that's not putting any pressure on Slapper's mate 117 is Captain Muffin. He's not even closed the gap, DJ. So he's still at that 6.5. So Where has his pace come from Slappers, mate? We did not see this in race 1, as he finished in I believe P6, and his qualifying wasn't great either. He was in P13 in race 1. Puts it on pole position for this race. And he's now up to a 6.2 second lead over Captain Muffin. This has changed things dramatically.
Yeah, I know. Like we all know that Slappers is fast, but this time's really kind of come out of the woodwork here. He's done an outstanding job. Not only that, he's done a 58.7, and he's about to lap Baseman. So Baseman's 1 minute 27. So he's either put in the pits or he's struggling to get his car turned around after an off or something. But yeah, no.
So it's Slappers made the only driver in the 58s. Wow, that's an incredible lap. That's an incredible pace.
Yeah. Yes, he is, and it's not only in the 58s by a little bit. It's currently just under 3/10. So it is a fast lap when your next driver behind you got Muffin on a 59 dead, and essentially that's your fastest driver.
That's incredible. So I remember actually when we were racing with Slappers, mate, I think in the pre-season in the main series, he was also pretty quick around this track as well. So Slappers got a little bit of form around Watkins Glen. So him and Aussie and the WTCC gang really love this track here, as we saw Ando take victory in race 1. So we're definitely going to be seeing a WTCC whitewash here. Touch obviously if Slappers, mate, keeps that car clean in the next lap and a half. But the 117 leading car 50 from Captain Muffin Ando on the podium and looking potentially to take the round victory. And Aussie Hypnotic in the 4, Bugsy in the 5th place, Kaizen in 6th place after a not so good race for him after getting a podium on his second race coming into TS2. Xylon 96 in 7th place behind his teammates, watching his teammates go by. Rusty Nuts in 8th place after a good recovery drive for him, I think being outside the top 10 a couple of moments. Mad Dog 007 in 9th, Warpath 360 inside the top 10. Robbo making up a position on KPL Baseman, and unfortunately our DNS belonged to Rugworth and Isuzu Brian, but on to the last lap, he has lapped KPL Baseman. So this man, DJ, is just incredibly fast, and I don't know where his pace came from, but we need this kind of pace, and we need this kind of drive from Slappers mate 117 if he wants to try and put any threat of being himself in championship contention.
Yeah, I don't even know where this pace has come from. This is something chronic from Slappers there. He's doing a pretty outstanding job, but getting news in as well. So John's actually woken up, but the attendance sheet had 7 PM on it, which I think it's may have stuffed up there, but he's missed it. But what can he do? But big congratulations here to Slappers mate 117. Taking that first place there around for these 15 laps here with Captain Muffin carrying a 1.5 second penalty, which will turn into 2 seconds here when Ando crosses the line. Yeah, with Ando rounding out the podium there, so I do believe Ando will get the round win there.
Yeah, I believe so too. Aussie Hypnotic in 4th, Budsy, Kaizen and Xylon in 5th to 7th, and Rusty Nuts rounding up the top 8. With Mad Dog and Warpath 360 inside the top 10, and unfortunately for Robo Sport and KPL Basement outside the top 10, and very unfortunate for Rugworth and Isuzu Brian to be DNFing from race 2 of the New York Sprint. But huge congratulations belongs to the WTCC family in Slappers mate 117 taking out race 2, and Ando 787 for taking out the round victory in Trackstars TS2 touring cars.
Yeah, they solid job there. I believe that's position 1, 3, and 4. So 3 cars in the top 4. Solid job there from those guys. But those laps there from Slappers were pretty impeccable. He's doing a solid job with that Nissan GTR.
Absolutely, yeah. They're getting so much performances from those cars, and they're really putting in those mileage points in getting their cars prepared for race day. And it just showed that once they put in those efforts and they come through, and as I did say, they are big fans of Watkins Glen, the WTCC camp, so they were looking really good in practice, and they've definitely showed their pace in TS2 for round 9, and Slappers mate takes his first victory in TS2, DJ, so he took his first victory in Formula 2, and now he's got a victory in TS2, so if anyone needs a driver to reserve, you need to sign up Slappers mate 117.
Yeah, solid job there from Slappers. Not only that, fastest lap of that race too. So that was a big congratulations to him, and solid performance here at Watkins Glen. But yeah, I think that's is that a kind of a worry for the rounds coming up for these drivers, or like what's going on?
I'll have to wait and see because we'll, obviously, I guess you can say yourself when you see it in supercars and when we see it in Formula One, one team is stronger than the other in certain tracks. And as we did see, now we see with WTCC being very strong around this track and no lunacy and no John in this round. And Captain Muffin was all on his own, getting two P2s in a row, mind you. And with Ando 787 down the back in P3. I think he may just get the victory, or with Captain Muffin's P2 double P2s, he actually could steal P1 away from Endo. We'll have to get confirmation with the point standings at the end of the broadcast, but I have a feeling that maybe the CP drivers just got away with it with only a few points in hand.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting one when the results come out for that one. So, bit yeah.
Absolutely. Great performances by our TS2 drivers, and now it is on to the main event, ladies and gentlemen. We are bringing you live here just over an hour's time for the Trackstars Touring Cars Championship. We know it's racing. Jarman Delt's making the calls. DJ, we have a very good substitute replacing Jarman in the commentary box in Venties. You may know him being the safety car driver in touring cars and the contender in the TS3 Touring Cars Championship will be making his main series broadcasting debut at Trackstars Racing Series. So we wish him all the best for the live call. But until then, we thank you for joining us here at Trackstars for the TS2 Touring Cars Championship. Like and subscribe, comment below, share this around your friends, and tell them to join us at Trackstars Racing Series. Join our Discord. Join all of our platforms. I will say. But for now, in an hour's time, you'll catch us in the main series. But for our TS2 and TS3 field, we'll